Welcome to the Digital Growth Hack Club, where we help you elevate your business and your bottom line. Here is your host, Jenny Jones.
Hey, this is Jenny Jones, Digital Growth Hacks Club. Hey, listen, we're back with the founder of, so Badri, tell us the name of the tool again. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot, Jenny. I'm Badri Veera. My background, I spent a lot of time in the corporate world, worked in, senior capacity in, media and also tech and telecom. And I saw some of the key pain points to building a product. And I said, you got to come up with something that's easy to use for, agencies as well as for small companies. So we kind of searched the landscape looking for creative names, and we ended up with a name called Igloo. Initially, we thought of Igloo, and then we said marketing is a creative activity. Then we smashed up the two words, creative and Igloo, and that's how we came up with Crigloo.
Crigloo. All right. So it's funny because these different founders have come up with these different names, and I'm thinking maybe they want a fresh name that no one has. They can build the domain name and authority from scratch. So I don't know. So it's Crigloo. Is that what you said? Crigloo?
Yes, Crigloo. Yes.
All right. So this, if you haven't had an opportunity to look at our other video, we did do another video for more of a beginning level and kind of walk you through some of the initial stages. There should be a link in the description for that. There should probably also be another link in the description of my high-level walkthrough of the tool. But this discussion is more of one for agencies or maybe more of an intermediate to advanced type of discussion we're having on this particular multi-channel marketing tool. So what I want to do is I want to understand a little bit how this tool can help an agency, right? I have an interest in it because I run an agency. I run some of my brands through the software that I pick up, and I also manage other brands for other people as well. So I manage a lot of brands, right? And I'm always looking for a tool like this is going to give me an opportunity to manage a lot of brands. It was a no-brainer for me. So when I saw it, I wanted to take an additional interest in it. So tell me really quick, and I think you're probably familiar. Yeah, I think you know that I have from your particular software solution. I purchased I have an unlimited version. I don't even know if it'll still be available by the time you see this, but there was an opportunity where I was able to get in. I have an unlimited because I got in kind of early stages because I saw what they were doing. So I have so I can manage unlimited brands. So I'll just put that out there right now. And that's what I love about them because they're giving us an opportunity to grow as an agency. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of built this with an agency in mind. Let's start there.
Absolutely. That's a great version of how this tool is going to be useful for an agency. So as an agency, you are marketing for multiple companies, multiple clients, and you also have multiple people that are managing these campaigns. So our tool, you can think of it as a little hierarchy. On top of it, you have Crigloo, which is where you open an account, and underneath Crigloo, you have multiple brands, and each brand you can think of it as a separate silo in which data is stored separately. So one could be a company that is selling bags online, and you're helping market them. Another could be suntan lotion that you're marketing. So it could be different products. Each product or company you want to think of as a separate brand. We allow such a brand feature. That's the first step. And you might be wondering, so what? A lot of companies have it. So in terms of agency, if you think about the agency landscape, you've got multiple clients that you're servicing. And each client, data is confidential. That's step one. And you have multiple people that are managing these campaigns. So you want to make sure that you've got access control, etc. So those are at a very, very macro level, those are big issues that you're grappling with.
Right.
And so the question is, how do we sort of deal with that sort of uber landscape. With that in mind, our product is created with a certain hierarchy. On top of the hierarchy, you've got Crigloo account that you open, and typically that account would be, you can think of it as a super admin or an admin.
Right. So
and
let's work in that. Yeah, super admin. Yeah.
Exactly. So think of the top as a super admin.
Right.
And underneath that super admin, you've got multiple brands.
Brands.
Each
Okay.
brand can have its own admin. So if you think about it, super admin sits on the top, admin sits on the bottom, and then underneath that admin, they can have a set of people managing the campaigns.
So let me stop you right there. So just so that I understand, because this is some pretty powerful stuff. You're saying that I have an agency here, but I have 3 marketing managers underneath me, right?
Exactly.
So I hired them. Maybe I have 2 marketing managers and I have 1 VA to just do basic stuff. So I have 3 people underneath me. So I have a super admin. That's me. I can see all 3 of them, but I can assign, and I have 6 brands. So I can assign each one of them 2 brands, and that they'll only be able to see the brand that they're working on.
Exactly. And not only that, only that. So the creative manager are the ones performing all the graphics.
Right.
They may not have access to the billing and stuff like that. So in any campaign, you have the campaign manager that sort of manages everything. Then you got the creative person, or it could be some other operations that might be involved in figuring out who I should go after, be an audience manager. So these respective managers don't have access to the whole picture. The campaign manager does, but here is the rub. The campaign manager does not have access to billing. So if, for example, if you're worried about credit card and all that stuff, only the admin will have access to it. So the super admin sits at the top. Admin sits for each of the brands, and the brand's data remains within those 4 walls. And even within the brand, you can have access control. You can say, look, the creative manager won't have access to anything else. They have access to brand A, creatives, and nothing else.
So you can go one step further and
Yes.
say, hey, even though he's a brand manager, I only want him to have access to. Oh, so that's pretty.
So we
serious.
have all kinds of granularity here. So you can literally think of it as a 4 or 5 layer cake.
Yeah.
And
I get
is
it.
different.
So let me ask you this. So how does logins work, right? Because I'm super admin, so I have my login. Now, do I send an email and invite someone to my panel, I guess, to my workstation, or what am I inviting them to? My profile, or what am I inviting?
Great question. So in our settings screen, what you will do is, as a super admin, you will invite admins, and the admin will kick out an email to the admin, and admin will have to just accept that. And once they accept that, they will have access to the platform. So that's how it works. And once they become an admin, they can go down the hierarchy and say, look, I want to assign Joe Schmo and make him the creative manager. So that Joe Schmo will only have access to doing the creative. And even within the creative, we have created something called a media library, which is a repository for storing all your creatives. Right. You don't have to. Of course, you can store it in Dropbox or Google Drive, etc. But we also provide a separate box. It's completely secure. It's housed under AWS. So each company, each brand will have its own separate box. So brand A's data will not be commingled with brand B's data.
Okay, got it. Oh, so they never mix creatives up or anything like that. Okay, so that's wow. Okay, so and I can revoke as super admin. I can revoke anyone at any time.
Absolutely. So the super admin has basically rights to remove anybody from the system, etc.
So is it only one super admin, or can you assign somebody else with super admin rights? Like, say, I
guess
partner.
You could. Our system is capable of making another person a super admin along with the person, but at the end of the day, the idea is that the super admin controls what companies come into the system, because at the end of the day, as an agency, you are inviting folks to be part of running the campaign. So you are going to send the invite to the companies.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. So let me ask you this. So it sounds like at this point, I can only invite people that I'm responsible, or for people that's on my team. what about if I have an agency, right? Because I have two types of clients in my agency. I have some clients that says, hey, I need you to hold my hand. I have one client that I have to hold their hand every single step of everything. They're like, I don't want to do anything. I want you to do it and then just brief me on it, right? I don't want to see it. I just want to see it's finished and you're running that. Or I have some to just, hey, I just want to see the numbers, right? I want to see the reports. And we'll talk about reports a little bit too, but that's all I want to see. Then there's some that says, okay, I got it, right? I understand where you've been walking me through it. Let me try it on my own. Let's talk about these two different clients. What can they see, or is that even possible? Is that something you're working on? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of data management and insights, so we have a separate insights portal. So if you are a campaign manager, you will have access to all of the, let's say you're a campaign manager for Brand A, just as an example.
Yeah,
right?
Brand A.
You will be able to go into insights and look at soup to nuts, anything related to Brand A. But you won't be able to open any insights, no data sets for Brand B.
No, so I got the silo. So that I got. So
correct.
Since you're on insights, what kind of do those print out in PDF or Excel?
Oh, great question. Great question. So
yeah.
we have like several graphics. The way we have architected the insights is you can look at it by as a summary page for a particular brand.
Sure.
The summary, you think of it as a simple dashboard that gives you vital stats for the campaigns that you're running. That's step one. You can then go down the crust and look at by network. You can say, look, I want to know how my Google campaigns are performing, how my Facebook campaigns are performing. So you can look at it like that, or you can look at it by search. I want to see how Google stacks against Yahoo or Bing, etc. So that type of stuff you can do, or you can look at social media and say, how is my social doing versus search? So you can look at the data in different ways for a particular brand. And as I explained, everything is maintained in silos. So the security is highly maintained, and you can be comfortable.
So that much I got. I'm more interested now in the reports. Do they print out in Google Sheets, Excel, PDF? What are those? Or are they just viewable?
We also have. I think we definitely have. Excel, and also PDF is something we can create, but right now we have Excel.
Okay, so it's really graphs and numbers. It's not. I mean, so when I think of a PDF, right, and maybe this is something that you can probably take back even to your team, is if I'm an agency and I have to do a debrief with my client once a quarter. So I want to put it, hey, I'm going to send your report ahead of time, and then we'll discuss it when I get there.
Yeah, absolutely, we can make that happen. Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
I might want that, and I might want something to put their brand, make sure that their brand prints out on the report, and then maybe my agency on there that prints out or something like that. Absolutely. And then that's all it needs. And then that's a cover page, and then there's stuff. And so is that something you guys are thinking or considering, or sounds like a good idea?
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. We have most of the elements. For example, the logo for the company is not there, but that's a small change. So at the end of the day, what we would have is that for each brand, you would get a packet of pages. The first would be a summary page,
right?
And then you would get subsequent pages which shows you performance by various crusts. You can look at demographics. You can look at all that stuff.
Okay.
And the other cool thing is that you can convert all of that into a single PDF and shoot it across, to the company that wants to review this, let's say once a quarter, and so they can review the data before they meet with you. Absolutely, that's quite possible with our tool right now.
Right now it's possible, or is that something you guys?
Some parts of it are, like the logo is not there, and a couple of things are not there, but for the most part, it's there.
So I think you just said Excel is there. So is PDF coming, or is that something you guys are considering?
Yes, PDF is coming. Exactly.
Okay. Oh no, I just wanted to know. So so as far as, and I don't know if you did answer this, but I have some clients that want to do it on their own. How is that, or is that something you guys are thinking of, or you just don't want clients in there at all? Or talk to me a little bit about that, because I do have some clients. Like I have one platform. I don't want to mention the name of the tool here, and it's not a competitor. It's just a tool that I love this tool for one reason. And most people that know me and follow me, they'll probably know what tool I'm talking about, but it's a tool that allows you to show a glass window. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. If I work at a potato chip factory, right? And you wanted to see all the well, actually, let me do it better. I'm in California, so they have this jelly bean factory, right? And you can see where all the jelly beans are being made, and they put the different, hey, we're going to add root beer flavor here, we're going to add cherry flavor, but you can watch the whole thing as it's being made before they end up on the bags. And there's this one tool that allowed the prospect or the client on the other end to see things from afar. They couldn't touch it, but they could see what was going on. So it would allow them the opportunity to log in. They can say, okay, this is where we're at. And not saying that you have to do this, but I'm giving you an idea of what I think some clients would be able to.
Absolutely.
They can't touch it. Yeah. And then you give them access, and then you send a link to them, you give them access, and then you can revoke the access. Or it's just,
to be honest, we have made it one step better. I'll tell you how.
Oh, one step better than the window.
I'll explain.
They get the taste of root beer flavor. All right, so let's go. What we got here?
So let's say you are running a campaign for a month, and you want to know how your campaign is doing. Instead of looking at it every week, what we provide is a daily dashboard that comes to your inbox.
Okay.
And it's a very simple, maybe 10 to 15 metrics, and it shows you 4 or 5 weeks of data. You don't have to even sign into the tool. It comes into your inbox as a campaign manager or admin. You can just literally, will get pounded a lot of data, but it'll be in one page. Very simple.
Is that for all the brands? So if I'm if I'm super admin,
yes,
right?
You will get it for all the brands.
I'm super admin now. Does that come in PDF?
That right now comes in an email.
It comes in an email. No, these I'm just asking. There's a lot of agencies out there that, and one thing I noticed working with colleagues and they like these PDF reports because their clients like these PDF reports. So if you're saying, hey, we get an email report, we're like, hey, can we get that in PDF? Or we can send it in email, but we can have a check mark and say, no, send me mine in PDF or something like that. I'm just
That's a simple change for us. If PDF is a easier format, sort of.
Well, at least an option. Don't, because email may just be good for some people. But I'm saying there may be things that I may get a PDF that comes to me, and I may want to share with a partner real quick or something like that. So what I just want to make sure that I understand it correctly is, it's going to bring me a super admin level. Say I'm managing 20 brands. It's going to give me a breakdown. It's going to say Jenny's brand, John's brand, David's brand A, brand B. So after brand A,
a daily.
Daily. It's going to give me, after brand A, it's going to give me a breakdown of the core metrics for brand A. Then
absolutely.
Wow. Okay. This is getting
so
exciting.
Every day you're going to, so the two people will get not only the super admin, but the admin for that particular brand.
For that particular brand.
And then the campaign manager will get it. So it's basically a hierarchy of people that will get this. Okay. And there is a place inside the brand where you can elect to put whoever wants the daily digest. So we call it the daily digest. Okay. So it's a small digest, simple to absorb. Again, we don't have it as PDF, but we can make it PDF. Right now, it comes in the form of an email. So we are happy to convert that. That's a fairly simple task, convert it into an email. But what is super useful is you don't have to log in. You can be in a plane somewhere looking at the PDF very quickly across the 20 brands. You don't have to sign into the tool. Everything can be rendered on a device like this. So makes it easy for you to steer the campaigns without a lot of effort.
I'm impressed. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me you did that. You're like, oh, well, that's when now we're on the phone. There's a lot. I'm finding out a lot. This is like a Pandora's box. Yes. So did we ever answer the question about the client that wants to do it on their own, or you just haven't gotten that far? Are you still kind of thinking about how you really want to do that? Because that's fair. You're like, hey, you get that, but there's some that want to still touch it. Do we allow them to touch it, or is that something that you're going to work on, or is that something that's coming, or is that even possible? Right?
Just so I'm not misstating your question. So you got an agency, you got a bunch of clients. Yeah. And you're saying the client wants to
their brand
campaigns,
brand
for that particular brand. Absolutely. So what you would do in that case is, you as an admin, as a super admin, you would just say, you know what, I want to assign this client as an admin for that account. that person can do whatever they want. And
So
they can
you
run
assign,
campaigns.
so you assign them as an admin, and then you could still pick and choose what they could do within there.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do
Absolutely.
we send them an email invite to admin? Hey, I'm inviting you as an admin to watch your project and look over it. Can't really touch it because I don't know if I want to really give you the keys to the car yet, but I just kind of want you to see what we're working on behind the scenes.
You can do that. And if you don't want them to touch it, then there are other things. So we could say only view only, rather than
view
rather
only.
than like they don't take any actions. Absolutely.
So you can do a view only. Oh man, this is getting good. So let's talk about something that Google Tag Manager, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about that, because there's not a lot of tools out there that have that. And they kind of just changed the Google Tag Manager a little bit. It's a little bit more sophisticated, I think. And Google's Google's up in their game. A lot of ad people are up in their game. But tell me about what you guys do with Google Tag Manager. This is for the advanced techies out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to explain to them what a Google Tag Manager is?
You guys are obviously agencies, you know a lot, but just to
what is it? What is a tag manager? And then you guys have it. So let's talk about that, because I don't know of any other tool, not that I know of, that has that capability. So let's talk about that real quick.
So like I want to explain to you a little bit about the funnel, and then I'll come to the tag in a second.
Sure.
So if you look at it, a customer at a very, very macro level is impressed with an ad, right? Whether it's Google, Facebook, Instagram, wherever they go online, they get impressed with an ad. Once they see an ad, a certain fraction of them click the ad, come into the portal, right? Like onto their web page. Right. Out of that transaction, only a few of them are going to engage, right? Right. Some of them might bounce, right? They might come into the website and say, you know what, probably, oops, it's the wrong website. They might just
wasn't what I thought. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And then a certain fraction of them, typically a small number, are going to engage on the platform. And the engagement might come into 3 buckets. One is a very low engagement. They might just come in, look at a few things, and then quit. Some of them will engage a little bit more. Some of the people that engage a lot, they're likely to become your customers. Right? Eventually. Now, once a lot of the competing tools, I just want to bring that out there, don't do a whole lot of stuff once the customer is on your website. All they look at is, hey, how many of them are coming in. They just send pipes to Google, Facebook, etc., like all the aggregators that we have looked at. Right. None of them that we know of is looking at what happens on your website. Ooh, they don't do a whole lot of stuff. What we do is figure out by visitor who is likely to convert. So in other words, we have data which can inform you as an agency and say, you know what, given the path, the customer journey, right? Let's say there are multiple customers, which cohort of customers is likely to convert? So right now it's sort of in the R&D lab right now, but we're going to take this idea and put it into the system. And this is going to be super, super powerful for an agency.
Oh man, that's game changing, man. Should we edit that out? Do you want your competitors? I think we might need to edit that. Do you know what that means? I mean, obviously you do know what it means because, well, you guys have thought about it. So is that using some kind of pixel or? So
this is where the GTM comes in. So if you want to know what activity took place on the website, the tag manager, think of it as like a radio caller or a tag, like, animals are, tagged typically, but this is not an animal thing. It's for any website you're getting tagged. That means think of it as a simple camera being installed on the website. That's all it is. Once you install a camera, you know exactly what goes on in the full house. So think of it as you're putting cameras all over your house, right? Right. If suppose you're putting a camera on the doorknob, then you're putting a camera in all the doorknobs in your house.
So is this is this like heat map or kind of heat map?
It's heat map on steroids. For example, because you know exactly which room they went into, which means every sub page within your website. You know that. You know how long they stayed on the website, right? Yeah. And which of the buttons they click. For example, if you want the customer to, let's say, look at description of your web page. Let's say it's in e-commerce, you want to look at description of a particular product. Then you can look at, I want to I want to see customers that click the description, but didn't quite make the purchase. So this tag manager is super useful, especially if you want to retarget those customers. Let's say, I don't know, 10,000 of them came into your website, right? And let's say only, I don't know, you only got 20 purchases. I'm just, of course, giving you an extreme case perhaps, but there is 9,980 people that you can go after. How do you do that? You use tag manager. So the tag manager will tell you, out of the 10,000 people, you can also filter it by this way. You can say, you know what, out of the 10,000, Uber customers that visited me, I don't want to look at people that bounced within, let's say, 30 seconds, because they are practically.
They were never going to buy. They were never going to buy anyway. Yeah.
Right? I want people to engage on the platform for at least a little bit. They looked at certain parts. I'll give you one concrete example for an e-commerce. Let's say you're an e-commerce platform. Ultimately, your goal is conversion and buy. Typically, after you buy stuff on e-commerce, you get a thank you page, right? We all know that. Like most e-commerce has.
Right.
Now, if the customer has already purchased your product, you don't want to go after them and remarket to them, because if you remarket to them, you're going to waste money. Now, you want to remarket to people that have added your product to a cart.
Right.
Let's say they've added to a cart,
right,
but didn't quite see the thank you page. So you could say, you know what, include people that have added to cart, but exclude people that have not seen the thank you page. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you do this, then you would go after a customer that is persuadable.
Yeah. They were on the fence, and for some reason
on the
or another,
fence, and you can move them.
And you might even, it might have been the price. So you might even push it in with another 10% discount or something like that to just convert them and bring them into your ecosystem.
Exactly.
That's
they're
fascinating.
On the fence, and you can push them to the right side.
Yeah. So that's fascinating. So I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that how is that different from putting a Facebook pixel on them? Right. Or
great question. In this particular case, no, it's a wonderful question. So since you're looking at, omni-channel platform, you can literally load your catalog across all platforms. So it's not just restricted to Facebook or Google, etc. So that's one. Since we are like sitting on top of Google, Facebook, etc., we have data flows across all channels. We know which channel is resonating for your audience, and we will be able to push more traffic to channels and network where your audience is resonating most. So this is something Facebook or Google won't be able to do, because they're only looking at Facebook, or they're only
looking at their particular.
We are looking at all channels. So that's one. The second thing is the way we have even architected the audience is very unique. So we have this concept of avatar or persona,
right,
which will allow you to sort of hyper target your customers, the likes of which the native platforms are unable to do, because we can again do cross channel. That's something individual companies, native companies cannot do.
So let's let's back up. I think we stumbled onto some gold here. So because you have multi-channel, you have an intelligence built in that says this person, Jenny Jones, is marketing on Google, but he's also marketing on Facebook.
Right.
Your intelligence is kind of talking to each other, and they're seeing, based on the persona, most of the one you've identified on Facebook is giving you a better return and or a better engagement rate, or a better click per click rate on one platform on the other. Now, so my ask is, when I'm designing my campaigns, I'm lining up a different budget for each campaign. It can't come back. That would be really sick, but it can't come back. Is it going to make intelligent recommendations to me and say, hey, what do I got? Because you said, wait. So tell me.
Actually, we got something very interesting. So in the so we have two paths in our tool. One is an automated path and one is a manual path. In the automated path, you give a unified budget. Let's say you say, I want to advertise on Google, Facebook, Instagram. You give one budget. Our tool will essentially divvy up the budget using machine learning AI, because it knows exactly where you're getting the most bang for your buck.
Whoa. Because I remember that. So
and it'll deploy more separated yourself. Tool will do it for you.
oh, so I remember that because I know we were setting up. If you need, it's another video in here. You'll actually be able to see that, and I think
Yes.
I may even show that in one of the links below in the description.
Yes.
I see where you can actually say, hey, do you want it to be automatic or do you want to be manual? So you're saying if we set it to automatic, it'll automatically distribute one budget across multiple channels?
Multiple channels, and it'll base it on the performance.
On the performance, so it intelligently, if I said I want to budget $500 a day for one brand, and I want to spread that $500 across Google,
Facebook,
LinkedIn,
Instagram.
Facebook, and Instagram. And I did $500. It would, and let's say I did, it would automatically allocate the strength based on the return for me. Is that what you're telling
Yes.
me? Is that what,
Absolutely.
are you just saying that? Or you actually know it can do? No, I'm asking because this is
No, it's serious.
This is blowing my mind right now.
Yeah. So basically, we have an objective, right? The objective is, it's either a conversion objective or is it a lead objective or is it just an awareness. So depending on the objective, we know exactly what the goal is for you as a brand or an agency, right?
Right.
So given that your objective is clear, the tool will figure out, given the objective, what is the path I should take that will maximize your goals. That's what it does. And we use data and analytics to be able to do that.
Oh my goodness. All right, so let me ask you a tough question then, because I'm impressed with all that. Where do you see yourself, your company, where do you guys see yourselves in the next 5 years? Because let me tell you what I've seen some companies or young companies do, right? They get the allocation of the AWS dollars or hosting space and do all that. And once those kind of run out, right? The company kind of does weird things and they do some funky things. And I know you guys are on this project because let me tell you, from what I just heard from you, I play in a lot of tools. I do a lot of things. I lift up the hood, kick the tires, peel back the layers of the onion. I'm hearing some stuff here I've never really kind of heard. Now, there is one other tool that reminds me of it. I think they didn't have an ad manager. They would just manage traffic, right? So they would manage traffic for you. They didn't do the ads and all that. Yours kind of manages traffic if we went automated, and you do the ad as well. So this is like one more layer, because theirs was awesome in managing the traffic for you, and they can manage multi-channel traffic, but they didn't do the ads, right? Yours does a little combination of both.
Right.
Where do you see? I mean, nobody is Nostradamus, right? Where do you see
the
yourself?
way one thing I want to say is that if you step back and look at the zeitgeist around privacy and all that stuff,
right?
If you look at the congressional hearings that Facebook and other companies are going through, it's very likely you're going to see more companies emerge, because they're probably going to break up some of these companies. If they break up some of these companies, then chances are you're going to have more networks to work with, right? As a marketer. So that means the complexity of advertising gets even bigger, right? So companies like us who are in the business of aggregating and optimizing across networks, we become a lot more important, right? Like in that kind of zeitgeist of, and we are not interested in promoting Facebook or Google. We are interested in promoting you, the agency, or the advertiser. So there is two different sort of objectives, if you will. The tech, behemoths versus us, like startups. We have two different objectives, totally different objectives, and we believe that we've become more important in the years to come. So, like, I can't say 5 years exactly what will happen, but we believe that our importance is going to get heightened because of concentration of companies, and likely something is going to happen with some of these companies. And if they break up some of these companies, then the complexity of advertising goes up enormously. And you also have likes of Amazon, for example. Right now, we don't have Amazon on the platform. So if you got Amazon, so think about it, right? You got Amazon on one side, you got Facebook, you got Google, you got Instagram. And you also have like Netflix, for example, recently announced that they might go with an ad platform for free. So think about, like, if you have to advertise across 5-6 networks, you're gonna, like, even if you're an agency, like super smart people are there, it's still hard. It's not easy figuring out each network, and there's no uniform, place that you can go to and then say, what, how do I do all this network
Right.
budgeting?
Mm-hmm.
And you got Google, we have one person, which is tool which optimizes across platforms. So, and we are not siloed. See, one of the key differentiators of Crigloo versus others is some companies that we have benchmarked very carefully is they look at, hey, I do everything that Facebook offers. I do everything that Google offers. We don't do that. We say, what, we put the customer, convert leads, awareness. That's all we care about. The Google is just a medium. Google is not the end goal, right? Google is a means to an end, and that's how we treat the tool itself. So if you look at our mantra and how we design the tool, we keep that end goal in mind as we design it.
Wow. Okay. So with that being said, as we kind of bring this to a close and a kind of a wrap, so right now, you have, I want to talk about some other channels you're thinking about, or you can kind of tell me, you're not going to have all of them. You had to basically master what you got now, which is the main popular ones. But you have some new ones, TikTok's popping up, right?
Yes.
Apple has announced they're about to double down on their ads, right? LinkedIn and Bing. I mean, obviously Microsoft owns both of those, right? So they're changing. So where do you see you guys adding next? Or do you see you guys just being we're going to eventually be a player in all of them? We're just trying to figure out the ones that we got now locked in, and then we want to try to stair step into adding the other ones. And then if you add the other ones, are people grandfathered in, or is just part of your platform? Let's talk about that.
Great question. So so there is obviously many platforms that are coming up. Like I said, one of the ones that we are strongly considering is Amazon, because they're one of the largest e-commerce platform, as you know.
Right.
And there, if you look at their ad growth, is skyrocketing, right? And if you have to advertise on Facebook, Google, and Amazon, it's quite complex if you have to do it separately.
And that is a challenge right now for agencies. Definitely, if you're managing other brands as well. So that's the elephant in the room. We already know logging into different ads systems and all that. We already know that. So we already know you're solving that problem. So thank you very much. So
the second thing is, in terms of stack ranking, what we are looking at, how we are evaluating is, we are looking at where customers' interests are right now. And one of the things we got wind of is Amazon is definitely up there. TikTok is obviously pretty big consumer platform, catered towards younger audience, and my kids are into it. So that's a platform we are also looking at. And then I think you talked about Apple and Bing. So those are definitely in the evaluation mix. Right now we have not made a call, but I think the call that we are trying to make is Amazon and TikTok. Those are the ones that we are strongly considering. With other platforms also, it's in the radar. That's what I would say. And in terms of where our heads at, we want to basically be the go-to platform for agency, where you can really use our platform. That's our motto, and that's what we're designing our tool for. So we have, like I said, we have two constituents. One is an agency, and other is solopreneur, which we talked about earlier.
So of a person now, such as myself, right? I'm on the ground floor. I'm in here trying to figure this out. I see your tool, right? There's another tool I saw, and I'm going to bring their name up. I saw the tool before anybody else saw it. I saw what they were offering. I said, nah, this is not like what everybody else is doing. They're doing something at a total different level. And I recognized it. And then eventually people came along. Like I'm recognizing what your tool is doing. I'm recognizing where it's at. So what I'm trying to say is right now, will a person that gets in now, will they be grandfathered into all the rest of the platforms as you add them?
So that's a great question. So we are right now in the process of looking at it, and we will announce something, fairly shortly. But hopefully it'll all be in the favor of customers. We feel customer is king. So we look at it very strongly. But right now I don't want to make a commitment. But I think with having said that, I do recognize customer is king. So we'll announce something short.
Okay. It's a fair question. I mean, that's the best way we can answer it right now at this point. Nobody knows the future, right? It may be say, hey, Jenny, in order for us to add that particular piece, it was an enormous cost, and we may have to pass some of that cost on or something. That's understandable, right? We don't want to get blindsided by, hey, we have to add Amazon, and that's going to be an additional $400 a month or something like that, and those are the things that.
We'll be very reasonable. I think we'll figure something out and communicate it to the broader audience.
Okay. Yeah. And some things have costs. So there's hard costs, and then there's variable costs, and there's costs you can't control sometimes. Okay. I think if things are fair and reasonable, I think people, especially if you're growing and you're definitely helping us make money as agencies, then we'll say, yeah, we'll continue to invest. I'm speaking for me, because I want my tools that I purchase, I want them to be around, because it makes me look like a genius for purchasing them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we plan to be around, and we have pretty strong traction since we launched the platform a few days ago. So I think we are very excited to work with agencies, learn about your problems firsthand, and we've also got a webinar coming up fairly soon. So I'm super jazzed to work with agencies like yourself and others. Like I said, the product is designed specifically with agencies and SMBs in mind, and we want to make it right by you guys.
That sounds good. So now I'm easy, right? We are going to have a open Q&A for our next session. That'll be, hopefully there's a link in there for that as well, or people can get access to that if they've missed it. It's going to be it's going to be open QA live. And we look forward to you joining that. There'll be probably a lot tougher questions. I'm kind of easy, right? But I get the understanding of it. I know where you guys are headed. I know what you guys are doing. And I appreciate you showing up here on the show, working with me on the Digital Growth Hacks Club. It's been a pleasure. Is there any parting words? Is there a, what do we used to call it? I used to work for this company, and we were a private company, but we were powerful, right? We were bigger than some of the larger companies. And our CEO would, every quarter, he'd get us in this room, and he wanted somebody in the room to come up with a killer concept. He says, and we do this think tank every quarter. He says, I want a killer concept that once the competition wakes up and finds out and they're on to us and on our trails, I'm going to use one of the killer concepts that you guys come up with. And so I'm just giving somebody out there some ideas, and it's something we did in our company, stayed ahead of the competition always. And because we always had these killer. So do you have a killer concept that you can't really disclose? We say, hey, we're working on something that's so top secret that it'll show up in a Chrome case with a handcuff on it. Are you guys working on something like that in the lab? Give me some hope. Give me some hope.
Absolutely.
You don't have to disclose it. You don't have to disclose it, but just say, hey, Jenny, if this launches, game over. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's a great question. So we consider ourselves to be, science lab come a business. So we are always, looking, at the bleeding edge in terms of machine learning and AI. And we are doing something in sort of image processing and, and advertising as a whole, like on images of ads. And those are going to be super useful. Let's just say we'll have some diagnostic tools for ads. It's still in the lab. And that's going to make it super easy. Let's just say to advertise, like right now you have to advertise and then know. This one would be like a sort of an early warning system. Again, I don't want to disclose too much, but that's still in the science lab. I would say we plan to release it in the coming weeks and months. But that is something, and we consider ourselves to be first data scientists and then marketers after that. And especially me, my background has been heavily in data science. And I'm always looking for how to make things better for the marketer, and how to get one step ahead of what's out in the market. And even like larger companies like Adobe and stuff like that, some of the ideas that we have dreamt up, they don't have some of these. So like what I would say is that we are very proud of the steps we have taken to equip companies like yourself and other agencies. And we want to keep going on that march to greater heights. One other, plug I want to put out there. We really, have spent a lot of time, energy outside of the corporate world to build this company. And any support you can lend will be huge in transforming our lives and your lives.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. This is hot off the presses. This is an exclusive. Nobody's got this juice. I just gave it to you. I'm here with Badre here at his company. I like to call them Igloo. They put everything in the igloo, right? There's people that live in Alaska, live in igloos. You go in there, you're like, man, aren't they cold? No, you go in there, they got a heater in there, they got everything in there, but it's an igloo outside. So listen, I appreciate you showing up today, spending some time with us, letting us take a look at it. We are going to have one more session. You guys got to join us for this Q&A. It's only going to be for subscribers only. So unfortunately, if you're not a subscriber, you really won't be able to get access and see it. And then I'm only going to have it up for a little while. Then it's going to go to my own private community and I'll have it in there. If you're not a member of the Digital Growth Hacks Club, shame on you, because we're going to be doing some other stuff as well. I'm going to have him come back and he's only going to speak to the community only on some of the new releases. So you'll catch some of those. You guys should have signed up for VIP. You still can get inside. Should be a link in there for that as well. We're doing some different things here on the Digital Growth Hacks. This is not your normal run of the mill. We're going under the hood with these founders and these new SaaS tools. These tools got to make us better. If we're profitable, we're going to make them profitable. We both win. And how do you win when it seems like you're losing? You create a win-win.
Yes.
Right.
All right. So once again, I really thank Jenny for hosting us and hosting me, and I really appreciate this relationship that we've been able to come up with. And I look forward to the next meeting with Q&A. Put me in the line of fire, if you will. And,
don't tell them that. Take it easy, people. We don't want anybody coming up on the stage and doing anything. Okay, that was a shameless joke. But anyway, you guys have a good one. It's been a pleasure. I love connecting. I love talking tech with these founders. Thank you, Mr. Abadre, for coming and sharing some wisdom with us. I got it raining outside because I know you're from Seattle, so I just figured the two mixed together. So no, it's been a pleasure. Really appreciate it. Hey, you guys, if you see his tool, there's going to be a link below. You might want to pick it up now. They're going places. You better get in now. Can't say I didn't tell you. And I told people about another tool and people didn't get in. Now they're mad at me. I'm like, hey, I told you. There's things about different tools that I look for that has longevity, has a lot of shelf life, and you can make your money back on in a short order, in a quick order of time. Hey, you guys take care. Goodbye for now. You guys take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us here on the Digital Growth Hack Club, where we help you elevate your business and your bottom line. Please do not forget to subscribe and share. And until next time, goodbye for now.